Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. My name is Rami Khalil Nazal. I recommend that you look me up if you're interested in this video. The purpose of me recording this video, which I'm doing for the third time because the first two times didn't work, is to inform anybody who is listening about multiple sclerosis, otherwise known as MS. I'm 57 years old. I was born in August of 1964. I was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis in 1985 when I was 21 years old. At the time, in 1985, I was studying in university in Creighton, which is in Omaha, Nebraska, and I was a runner. Now, when I say I was a runner, it doesn't mean I was as fast as my classmates. No way. My classmates were the kind of people who could run 3 miles in 14 minutes. I wasn't that fast. I never was, sadly. But in Omaha, Nebraska, you guys can do the math, I used to run from Creighton University to the airport and back, which is about somewhere between 10 and 15 miles. That's about 25, 30 kilometers for you guys who are metrically inclined. And all of a sudden, when I was 21 years old, I woke up at 3 o'clock in the morning and my right eye was doing this. I thought this is very, very strange, so I went back to sleep. I came to find out later, about 3 weeks later, that this condition is known as optic neuritis, and the MS attacked my optic nerve. That's one of the first symptoms that happens to people who are diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. Now, let me explain it a little bit further so that you guys will learn something and perhaps you're going to laugh a little bit. That's my intention, to teach and inshallah, God willing, to make you laugh a little bit. The nerves in our brain and our spinal cord are covered with a layer of fat called the myelin sheath. This is an autoimmune disorder where the body strips the myelin sheath from the nerves. Nobody knows why. Not even the smartest neurologist in the entire world knows why this happens. I certainly don't. But when the nerves get stripped from the myelin, the result is that they don't transmit the signal very, very well. And as a result, it leads to a whole lot of symptoms. And inshallah ta'ala, I'm going to explain some of the symptoms that happen when a person is diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. Now, the purpose of this video exposition is not to make anybody feel sad. I'm not trying to make anybody feel sad. We have in my holy book, which is the Quran, a verse that says, لا يكلف بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم لا يكلف الله نفسا إلا وسعها. In Arabic, translated to English, that means, on no soul doth God place a burden greater than it can bear. So I woke up at 3 o'clock in the morning and my right eye was doing this. And I went back to sleep, which seemed the only logical thing to do. In the morning, I called the nurse. She looked at my right eye and she thought I had a stroke. So she freaked out and she called the doctors. And the doctor told the nurse, admit him immediately. Bring him to the hospital now. It's a matter of life and death. So, excuse me. So I'm standing in front, so I'm laying down in front of the doctors and they ask me questions. Son, were you drunk last night? Never had a drink in my life. Did you do drugs? I don't do drugs. Did you hit your head? Not that I recall. When did this start? Last night in the middle of the night. So they admitted me. And then on the second day, I was in for a little bit of a shock because a neurosurgeon came to visit me and he said, son, very serious like, we think you had an aneurysm. I'd never heard that word before. What's an aneurysm, doctor? He said, son, it means that there's a blood vessel in your brain that kind of went pop. Said, oh, wow. So what are you going to do about it? Oh, we have to go in and we have to cut it out and we have to fix it. And I must have been in a state of shock at the time because I said to him, oh, it sounds really easy. When can you do it? It's like getting an instant cup of coffee. Get your coffee, add 1 milk, add 2 sugar, it's gone. And he said to me, no, son, it's very, very serious. And we better call your next of kin. So immediately I called my brother in Colorado, and he called my parents in Saudi Arabia, and they were on the next plane to Omaha, Nebraska. I spent about 2 weeks in the hospital, and they did every kind of test imaginable. They took some cerebral spinal fluid from the lumbar portion of my spine, which is the bottom kind of near the crack of your butt, to see if there was any blood in there. They did a VER, visual evoked response, where they can measure the speed of your nerves. They did a something to test my eyes to see if I had glaucoma or diabetes. They did an MRI, which was really fun because they basically insert you into a huge tube and they take pictures of your brain. And of course, I had a claustrophobic reaction to that, so the nurse had to sit there with me and hold my hand, which made me feel like a real idiot. So I was in the hospital for about 2.5 weeks. The bill came to about 20,000 US dollars. Insurance paid for it. And at the end of the day, the doctor told me, avoid heat. Avoid heat. That was her only suggestion. And good luck. And your disease has no cure. So, Hakuna Matata. That's it. That's life. And I was okay. And I kept on running until about the year 2008. I kept on running. I was still doing the distances. 10 miles, 15 kilometers was nothing. Okay? And then in about 2008, my symptoms started to get worse and worse and worse. And I'm going to talk about the symptoms right now. Okay? The purpose of this exposition, aside, I hope it makes you smile or laugh a little bit, but I hope it also informs you. So the nerves lose myelin, and that is like taking an electrical wire and stripping the rubber or plastic which is covering it as insulation. And they actually see that when they do the MRI. They actually see little gray patches in your brain, and that kind of confirms that you have the disease. Well, let's add a little bit of insult to injury. There's a few kinds of multiple sclerosis. One is progressive, which means it gets worse and worse and worse, which is why the runner is now in a wheelchair. There's another kind which is called relapsing, remitting, where it goes and comes, goes and comes, goes and comes. I don't know that either of them is better than the other. Now, I don't want to go too long with the video because number one, you guys are going to get bored listening to me. And number two, I don't want to overdo it. There are certain things in the diet which are highly recommended for people so that they can minimize the symptoms. One is take a lot of vitamin D. Vitamin D apparently fights the progression of multiple sclerosis. I take Botox injections every 3 months. Botox is not to make me beautiful, although a lot of people take it for cosmetic purposes. Botox is actually to fight the spasticity in my legs and my hands, my arms. If you take a look at my left hand and my right arm, you can see the kind of difference. Pardon me, left and right hand. Left hand, no problem. Right hand, I can't straighten it. I cannot. They give me Botox in my adductor muscles, and that helps me to be able to walk. And I can still walk, about 300 meters, 300 yards, but I need the assistance of the nurses. Uh, the doctor told me heat intolerance, so don't ever go to a sauna. I worked in the Middle East and Muscat, Oman for 1 year, and that was miserable because the temperature was 50 degrees Celsius, about 120 degrees Fahrenheit. I couldn't take it. My symptoms became really, really, really bad. Um, they give me steroids. They give me antidepressants. They give me Tylenol. What have I done about the pain? Well, you kind of have to sit there and take it. And really, it isn't that bad. I've gotten used to it. It's not that bad. If I tend to slur my language a little bit, I'm not as eloquent as I used to be. Maybe that is also related to the nerves not working the way that they're supposed to. I always joke around with the nurses because I live in a nursing home. I refuse, tamamen, which means completely, to let my mom and my dad's 80, mom is 70, take care of me. So I told them I'm going to a nursing home. And they give me the antidepressants, they give me the Tylenol, they give me the steroids. All of those are for the purpose of decreasing the symptoms of MS. What else? Um, I can still walk. I'm very proud of myself about that fact. I still read a lot of books. I still love Shakespeare. I'm always keeping my brain very, very active. I was reading an article that says it's very good to eat healthy fats. What are healthy fats? Things like peanut butter, things like salmon, things like almond butter, because apparently that helps your body. Don't give me any garbage about, oh, I want to lose weight. I want to look pretty. I want my boyfriend to love me. If you have MS, you eat those healthy fats, those are going to help you. I do all the time. Avoid gluten as much as you can. I'm Arab. I'm very proud of that fact, in fact. And I love my native country of Palestine. And Arabs love to eat bread. We eat bread with everything. We even eat bread with watermelon. It's actually very good. Don't judge me until you try. But we're told to avoid bread as much as possible because bread contains a protein known as gluten, and gluten tends to exacerbate the symptoms of multiple sclerosis. And my last advice, I'm coming up to 15 minutes now, is keep active, keep moving. You see this? I have a barbell here. It's only 5 pounds, but I exercise with it all the time to make sure that my muscles don't atrophy more than they already have. I hope this video has been informative for you guys. I hope that you learned a lot. I hope that you smiled a little bit. You know what? It's a trial from God, and I'm winning because I can still smile, I can still laugh, my friends still love me, and my brain still works. Thank you very much for listening, and I hope if I have a lot of hits that there will be more people who view this video in the future. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala. I wish all the viewers peace and blessings, especially because it's Ramadan and Easter and Passover all at the same time.